Let's try something different this week. Today we'll be looking at what you should do if you come across a motorcycle accident, or if you're riding with a buddy and they happen to go down like an idiot. There's a few standard procedures that most people are familiar with, but I thought this would be a great opportunity to spread some helpful tips to people who may not know exactly what to do. Motorcycle accidents can be stressful and scary, so be prepared. Shout out to Dan the fireman who reached out to me with this content. He's the one that wrote most of this and provided the information. He runs a really good channel, so you should check that out. So what should the average untrained person do if they're first on the scene? Here's a few things to consider. First, you need to relax. When you see emergency personnel on scene, you notice that they're just walking around and not freaking out. You should do the same. Pretend like you're the Terminator, just chilling while there's blood and gore everywhere. It's important to note that cervical spine injuries are common in motorcycle accidents, so you should treat the rider calmly. Treat them as if they're a best friend that's angry. Talk them down. Reassure them. Most times their adrenaline is pumping so much that they're going to be confused and angry, like when your girlfriend is hungry but won't take your restaurant suggestions. Moving is bad. If they have a broken spine but they can't feel it, they're going to damage their spinal cord even more. And everyone knows that vegetables are only cool if you eat them, not visit them in the hospital. Just lay them down where they are and try to calm them. If there are others around, find someone with more medical training than you. Don't be a hero. Command someone to call 911. Call upon your leadership classes from high school and point and yell at people to do things. In large groups, either everyone calls 911 or no one does. You'd be surprised on how many people assume someone else will just do it. If the rider's breathing, don't take the helmet off. Leave it on. You can actually paralyze someone if there is a suspected spinal cord injury. Leave it in place, wait for the medical professionals to take it off. If the rider isn't breathing and you think it's helmet related, take the helmet off carefully. At this point, the dispatchers from 911 are going to collect the information and deliver it to the EMS personnel. If you're alone, now's the time to call 911 yourself. If the rider doesn't want you to call anyways. It's not like they're going to stop you. They're on the ground, all bloodied up and hurt like an idiot. The rider can always refuse service from the medical professionals when they arrive on the scene. Let the dispatcher know of your location, how many people were involved, injuries, your phone number, and any other important information. They'll probably walk it through with you anyways. At this point, the dispatcher will alert the nearest medical and police personnel to the scene. If you're still on the line, the dispatcher is trained to assist you in emergency care if needed. The main info that the dispatchers like to know on scene is if the patient has a pulse, breathing, what happened, their age, sex, location, and if they like long walks on the beach. To check the pulse, use your 2 fingers and locate the carotid artery. It is right near the windpipe or the Adam's apple. If the pulse isn't present, tell the dispatcher and they will assist you with instructions for CPR. Check breathing by looking at the chest rise and fall. For example, look at your coworker or family member right now. Now back to me. Now back to your coworker. You see that chest and abdomen moving? Stop staring at them. At this point, you should be prepared to do what's necessary. If the rider's bleeding, try and stop it. You have 2 options. Apply immense pressure on the wound with your bare hands, or apply immense pressure to the wound with a cloth. No one's gonna have a sterile cloth on hand, so just use a shirt or something similar. A belt isn't recommended for a tourniquet because most people don't know how to use one properly, so just push on that wound really hard until it stops bleeding. Don't let go after you've started. If you think it's stopped bleeding and then remove your hands, surprise, it's gonna start again. Just hold it till the medic gets there. An alternative option is to drink their blood and consume their flesh for sustenance, but that's for another time. Let's say someone else more medically trained than you is working with the rider. What do you do now? Get all the onlookers to safety. Other drivers are gonna slow down, stare at the wreck, and they're possibly gonna cause more accidents just by looking at one on the road. Rubberneckers are a serious problem. Keep as many people off the roadway. Don't pick up the bike. Well, let's be honest, you skipped leg day anyways, you're not gonna pick that thing up. Let the officers on the scene take pictures and do their investigation. To help with the investigation, start taking notes. Try to remember what you saw, how the accident happened. You're probably gonna become a witness. What do you do when the medical and police personnel arrive? This one's pretty easy. Professionals have their own way of dealing with the scene. They're on the lookout for any hazards that could harm them. Is there gasoline, gas, blood? They're gonna wanna know these things. So tell them what happened, how it happened, and what you have done since they arrived. They're gonna ask questions, or maybe they won't. It depends on what they need. If they don't actually need your assistance anymore, you should probably just step aside somewhere safe. One thing that actually does hinder care is when someone is trying to help when there already are plenty of personnel on scene. And that's it. It's pretty easy, huh? Just doing a handful of these things are gonna help the treatment of the rider tremendously. Thanks again to Dan for providing this information. I think it's gonna be really helpful to a lot of people, so be sure to go check out his channel. Yammie Noob does not condone the consuming of flesh. In rare exceptions, he allows it for ritual sacrifices to appease the motorcycle god Cthulhu. Goodbye.